Hey guys, welcome to 8.1 day 2. Today we are talking about bearing problems. So I'm just going to read this with you guys. In navigation and surveying, the direction or bearing from a point O to a point P, so these are all random point P's, equals the acute angle theta between ray OP and the vertical line through O, which is the north-south line. Okay, so it's this angle that's created between the north-south line at the origin and the point that you are trying to get to. Okay, and here's the notation. The north or south direction is always first, and then you put the degree, and then whether you're going east or west goes last. Okay, so notice in example 1 here, they did it for you. If you're trying to get from the origin to P1, they're saying you're going to go north and then make a 30-degree angle towards the east. Okay, so north or south first, degree in the middle, and then east-west last. All right, so let's try one. Let's say you're trying to get from the origin to point 2, which is down here. Okay, so to get from the origin to point 2, we always go north or south first. Since we're going down, we're going to put south. And then we're going to see what degree we went from this north-south line to P2. So that's 50 degrees. But what direction? Well, P2 is west of this line. So south, 50, west. Okay, now let's try P3. So P3 is north of the origin. It's a 70-degree turn to the west. All right, and then last one, new color. If we're trying to get to P4, so from the origin, P4 is south. By how many degrees? 20. And it is east of the north-south line. Okay, so pretty easy to just write the bearings. Now let's solve one. So go ahead and read this. And then if you want to pause it a little bit, well, I'll just read it with you. Okay, so the airplane is taking off from O'Hare Airport, that's at O, on runway 2. Or 2 left, whatever. The bearing, it's going in the direction of north, 20 degrees east. Okay, so it's headed in this direction. That's northeast, 20 degrees. And it's in that direction for 1 mile. Okay, so that's why we have a 1 here. Then the pilot requests permission to turn 90 degrees. So there's the 90-degree turn and head towards the northwest. That would be this way. And the request is granted. After the plane travels 2 miles in this direction, so there's the 2, what bearing should the control tower use to locate the aircraft at this point? So now we want to know what's the bearing from this point O to now the new point Q. Okay, so we want to find, well, we want to find actually just this theta here, because the bearing is from the north-south line to that new point. Okay, so really, I'm just going to shade in, we want this angle right here. What is that bearing? Okay, so hopefully you guys are like, well, we're in the right triangle trig chapter. This is a right triangle, so we can probably use trig to find a missing angle. Okay, so let's try to do that. The only problem is we can't just find this little angle, we have to find the whole thing. So let's start by calling this big angle theta, and let's use a little bit of trig. So according to this reference angle, we have an opposite and we have an adjacent side. So when you have an O and an A, that's going to be tan. Okay, so we're going to use tan theta equals opposite over adjacent. So just 2 over 1. And then you guys know whenever you're finding an angle, we use inverse trig, but make sure your mode is in degrees because this problem is in degrees. Okay, so mode, check that you're in degrees, good. And then let's do inverse tan of 2. And that's going to be about 63.43 degrees. Okay, so theta is 63.43 degrees. Okay, so is that our answer? Well, that's this big angle. And remember we said we only want the degree from north-south to point Q. So we only want this angle. But then it's pretty easy. If this angle here, if this side is 20 degrees, and we just want this side, let's just subtract the 20 out to see what this angle should be. Okay, so we're just going to subtract 20, and then it's 43.43 degrees. Okay, but now we got to say what direction. So from here to here, we're definitely headed north. So put an N for north, and we're definitely headed west. So let's put a W for west. All right, so that is your final answer. That's the bearing. Okay, short video today. That's it. Thanks for watching.